Hi, this is Daryl Miles from the Many Miles Away blog. In this video, I'd like to show you how to get up and running with IBM Endpoint Manager once you've installed it. So the first thing we'll do is to log on to the console after you've installed the product. I typically use IBM Admin. So once you've first logged on to the console, the first thing you'll see is a number of items down the left-hand side and also the All Content site in the bottom left-hand corner. First thing you want to look for is the BigFix management icon. Now this can take a few minutes to download from the IBM website. What it's doing is the content for the BigFix product is actually downloading from our cloud services on the internet. Now if this doesn't show, what you can do is to log on to the IBM Endpoint Manager Diagnostics program, and you want to check that you have green ticks here, particularly that the product is talking to the internet. You can also go into the View Server Diagnostics option and click onto the Gather Status page, and you want to check that you don't have any failed gatherings from our cloud service. You can see here how I have 2 items in ready. I don't have any failed and nothing in process. Now what you can do is, if you're having a problem, is to go back and click Gather All Sites, which will trigger gathering from our cloud service. And you'll see in my case that it's getting another gathering process from our cloud service. So on my blog I have information about what you can do to diagnose this if you're having some problems. Particularly it's around proxy configuration and the types of proxies the product is accessing the internet from if you're having issues. So if we return to the console, you can see that there's a number of options here from fixlets and tasks, and you can see the numbers of different domains which are shown in the left-hand corner. Now as you add certain functionality to the product, like in turning on patching, core protection, or mobile device management, you'll have different icons which will be displayed down the left-hand side as they're enabled. Now, fixlets and tasks, I've gone through what fixlets are in a previous video to talk through how they are messages that are downloaded from our cloud service from a number of advisories from various vendors, from Microsoft, Apple, Unix, Linux, different varieties, and they download from IBM. There's also a number of analysis that are provided from our product, and analysis are really around collecting information from the endpoints on a periodic basis, again done through fixlets, and reporting that information back to the server. So when I first install the product, I typically go in and activate these for the numbers that are installed out of the box. And as you add extra components to the product, you'll see additional analysis that you can turn on as required and as directed by the various products that you enable. Now those analyses will start to collect information from the endpoints and report those back. You can see in my case I have only one endpoint, which is the server itself, because we put the agent on the server. You can easily go in and distribute the endpoints to other endpoints via our client deployment wizard, and that can be done through Active Directory, from computers in an NT4 domains or a list of devices. And on my blog I have information on how you can distribute the endpoints through Active Directory or login scripts, and how that's done for Linux systems and Unix systems as well. So the first next thing you want to do is to go into BigFix management, and a number of dashboards within the product rely on Adobe Flash. So you want to install that on the console as directed. If you don't have, in my case, you want to put the Adobe Flash, install that if you don't have it on your endpoint with the console. I'm just going to install that now, and that'll take a few minutes to complete. So I'll come back in a moment and we'll continue with the console setup. Okay, so what we're doing is logging back onto the console after we've installed Adobe Flash. And you can see the deployment health dashboard is shown here for the health of your endpoint management environment that you'll deploy. You can see any warnings which are shown here. The next thing you really want to do is to go to the license overview page. Here you'll see the serial number of your environment, and the first thing you have to do is go to these various sites and click the accept button against the licensing agreement. Now you'll see one or more of these depending on what licenses you've purchased for the product. If you don't see these in your console, contact IBM and we can activate those, and they should become visible. And these are for various functionality within the product, such as you mentioned before, patch management or device management. You'll get additional functions displayed within the console. So if I scroll to the top and we collapse these various sites, you get a greater picture of what's shown in my console. You can see here core protection, life cycle management, mobile, patch power, security and compliance, and BigFix Labs is like a development area for new functions. A good place to start with a product, because of its patch heritage, is to enable patch management for Windows. So if you click on the enable button against that, and also the patching support enable button, and you'll see in the console what it's doing is talking to our cloud service and downloading the content automatically by the internet to the server. And again, in this case, the patch management domain is being listed. Next thing you want to do is go to the Manage Sites area within the console, and you'll see those sites that we're downloading. And you can assign them to various computers that you want them to apply to. Now, a good place to start is by default to simply assign these sites to all computers in your environment. So you want to do that after you enable a site. So if you were to enable core protection in the future, go in and click the enable button and come in here straight away and assign that to one or more of your computers, typically all computers. And what it will do is this content is starting to download in the background, and this information will start to arrive in the console. You can see here, nothing's there. It's going to start to download automatically in the background. So that's going to take a number of minutes. So I'll just pause the recording and we'll come back and check on its progress. Okay, we're a number of minutes later and the patch management site is downloaded. What I can do here is I click on the Show Non-Relevant Content, and you can see that close to 8,600 fixlets and tasks have downloaded from our cloud service, and it's been downloaded to those relevant endpoints, and they have analysed those fixlets to determine whether they're relevant for my lab environment, which is just one server, as I mentioned before. What you can do here is you can see these various fixlets. If you click on the button next to show non-relevant button again, you can see what's applicable in my environment, which is 59 fixlets and tasks are relevant. So you can go in here and sort on those fixlets. So for instance, on enable the ID for those fixlets, but also sort on the severity of the fixlets to say, what's the critical patches which might apply in my environment. So if I focus on one fixlet, so you can see in this case, it's applicable to one computer, and it's a patch for a Windows system, the Visual C++, and we provide information on what that is and what's the applicable computer. And you can also see the relevance that the endpoint is checking against, and then also down the bottom of this page, you again get to see what will then be applied if you were to take an action on this fixlet. Now these are automatically created by IBM. We actually see the advisories from a number of different providers. We package them up, and they're automatically downloaded to your server and tested. So you're getting a real real-time view of what's applicable. So what I can then do is take an action on that fixlet, and that could be to one or tens or if not hundreds of thousands of computers. I can select them and I can sort them on various groups. And you can see here when they're executed, I can display some information to the user before or after that fixlet's applied. In my case, I'm just going to select one computer and click OK. And what that's going to do is download that fix automatically from the appropriate provider's website. In this case, it's Microsoft. It's going to download that to the server through a number of relays if you've enabled them in your environment, which are endpoints which also take on a relay function, so you don't need any additional infrastructure for that. Downloading that, what it's going to do is send that through to the relays and through to the endpoints to apply depending on the rules that we've set here. You can see how easy it is to send patches out to many computers with little work to do. Now if we look at the patch management console, you can see here effectively a near real-time view of the patching status in my environment. I can see various fixes by category, so you can list all those and sort on those. You can see here my little setup of one VM that I have around 12. I have an average of 12 critical patches per machine, so it's applicable for that one machine. And you also get the most critical items in your environment, but also the last 10 actions issued. Another useful dashboard is the patches for Windows overview. So if you have a lot of Windows systems, you can also get a view here on the numbers of Windows patches, both security and non-security items in your setup. And again, these are the near real-time view of the patching status across your complete fleet, because the endpoints have reported back their information and the dashboard is simply showing that here. So it's not like you've got to run a scan and get the results back, this is the near real-time view of that information. Now another area you might want to look at to get familiar with the console is under wizards. So you can see here a number of wizards for rolling back various patches as shown in the console. You can also see the list of computers which would be shown here. And there's also computer groups. You can go and create either a manual group or an automatic group. So endpoints are automatically joined to various groups depending on various functions that you might want to enable. As you can see here, we have unmanaged assets where we can scan for endpoints that don't have an agent installed. And there's also the ability to define various operator roles of various functions with the product to have certain rights to the console. Now the last area that you want to set up once you've installed the product is to go into the web reports. And what you define here is the actual account of the person who will access the web reports. Now this can be also configured to be by Active Directory as well. So we'll go in here and define an initial account and password, and you'll see out of the box we provide a whole range of reporting on assets within the Web Reports product. A good place to start is to look in here at the overview report. If I click on that, you'll see a view for my simple setup of only one computer, but visibility here in terms of the classifications of the patches which apply to my setup with IBM Endpoint Manager. So I hope you've enjoyed this web report to give you a feel for the product and how you can get it up and running with IBM Endpoint Manager very quickly. If you have any further questions, feel free to contact me on my blog. Also post a query on IBM's Endpoint Manager forums on DeveloperWorks. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.